Have you ever created a great sounding loop and then struggled to get that loop into a fully arranged idea? Well, stick around and I'll show you my favourite go-to techniques for creating listener interest and artistic depth in your future productions. So I'm just going to start by showing you what we are going to be working with today as a starting point. So I've actually got these drums, which are taken from an upcoming record that I am releasing on Denson Peaker's Needed Pains. But what I've done is I've taken away all of the extra elements, the vocals, the percussive elements, and some of the effects and fluff that I had already in there. And I just wanted to use these drums because I thought they were pretty cool. And then what I've also done is taken a vocal from a splice pack that just says acid, and it's really, really simple. And the reason for that is that it would go nowhere without ear candy because it would just be so boring. And again, I chose this because it sounds great as a loop, so let's have a listen. So these are the drums. And it's a really nice groove. It's got a 303 taken from the MAM MB33, that's the bass. And then the drums are the syntax, but really distorted through the effects bus. I really like the sound of this. And then I've just got some tops, which are, I think, 909 hats. And then this vocal, so this vocal just sounds like this. I really like this. I found this on Splice. I can't tell you what pack it is because I don't know. It says TA, so it might be Tool Room Academy maybe. I'm not sure, but I really like it. I have used it on something before as well. So yeah, this is just a really simple vocal, and what we can do is we can use that to trigger effects plugins to create ear candy. So let's have a listen to the vocal with the drum loop. So the problem is that we've got a great sounding loop, but we don't have any ear candy or transitional effects or just fluff to make that loop kind of spread out into an arrangement. So the trick I'm going to show you is something that I do on every single production. I do it on vocals, I also do it on drums, I do it on bass and leads, and maybe I'll show you some of that as we go through the tutorial, but we're just going to focus on the vocals for now because I feel like this effect works very well with vocals. And the basic idea of this trick is that you use effects plugins. I'll show you my favorite effects plugins for this. Use effects plugins in full wet mode, and what you do is you just render out any cool effects that you might find, and then you end up with, say, 20 to 30, 40 layers sometimes. If you're a bit of a perfectionist like me, you just want like as many layers as you can so you can chop them up. The more effort you put into this, the more result you actually get out of it. But I think the sweet spot is probably like maybe 15, 20 layers. Don't go overboard with this. So yeah, basically what you do is you create loads of effects layers, and then the idea is that you categorize them. So you will have effects layers that just sound great as an extra layer on top of the original sound. So that could be like distortion. It could be like spatial effects around the vocal. And then what I'll do is I'll dot them around the arrangement. You also end up finding some transitional effects. So elements and effects that will help you move into the next section. And then you also have some special effects that will help you with breakdowns and build-ups. So it's really fun. I do this all the time, and it really takes my productions to the next level. So the plugins that I'm going to use to show you this technique are one of my newly found favorites, which is Devious Machine's Infiltrator. This is absolutely amazing, and you can see we've got a dice button there, so I can just randomize the presets instead of going through the different presets. It's also good as well because you do actually have categories there. So if you know that you really want to twist something, you can use the sound design folder. You can also use the generator folder if you just want to transform, say, a drum kit into a melody or a rhythm or an effect. It's really cool. And then also there's loads of really, really good artist presets, which I absolutely rate. It's a plugin that's aimed more at bass music, so more at drum and bass and jungle and hardcore. But I found it works so well for techno, it works so well for electro especially. So I found that this has become a massive favourite plugin of mine. We've also got Portal by Output. This has kind of been taken over a little bit by Infiltrator for me because I create quite hard electro music. Infiltrator is more suitable for the music that I make. But if you're making like melodic techno, melodic house, anything like that, or tech house, then maybe Portal will be quite a good shout as well. This one I was using for a very, very long time. It's great on vocals still, so I still use it. And then one of the other ones is delay plugins. So I actually use Valhalla delay a lot because what I really like is the Richard Devine presets and also the Simon Stockhausen presets. So there's some really good sound effects in there, and there's also some really cool delay effects that I end up using for long drawn out breakdowns and build-ups. So let's get stuck in with the first stage, and I like to call this stage the discovery stage. And what we're trying to do here is just find cool effects layers that we can use in this track. So I want to use an analogy here, which I did read once in an artist's self-help book. I really can't remember which one it is. I tried using ChatGPT to help me find the reference, but I could not find it. But the basic story was, imagine that you are an artist that creates beach artwork out of dead wood and shells. You wouldn't start creating that art project or that sculpture until you've got the materials that you need. And this analogy is always stuck in my mind, and I use it when I'm creating tracks. And before I do the arrangement, I go on this hunt. I like to call it the beach hunt. And basically what you do is you get your bucket, you go on the beach, and you find the shells and the pieces of dead wood that you will potentially use in your artistic sculpture. I know it's a bit of a silly analogy, but it really helps me, and I've used it for years. I mean, I read this about 7 or 8 years ago, and it's really stuck in my mind. And every time I think of doing this process, it comes into my mind again. And it gets me excited because it's like I'm hunting for cool looking objects that I can put into my sound sculpture. I know it's an analogy of a different medium, but it really does help me and it works. So keep that in mind. That's the analogy that we're going to use in this first part of the approach of creating ear candy. So let's get stuck in. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the vocal. I'm just going to solo that. And I've already found 2 that I liked already, but we're going to create some more. So this first one I thought was really cool. I used Infiltrator, and it was a preset called The Spiral. Really cool glitchy sound. That second one is amazing. So you can see it's in full wet there. And if we layer it in with the original, we get this. And it changes all the time as well. And with the drums. And you can see the way this plugin works is that we've got all of these different effects and LFOs and just crazy stuff going on. You can create your own presets, and I probably will do that in the future, maybe create a pack out of it. But for now, I just like hitting the random button. So let me show you how I go around doing this. So we're going to go back to that vocal again. I'm going to switch Infiltrator on. And then what I'm going to do is just hit the random button. One thing I will say is this plugin, out of all of the free plugins, gets super, super loud. So what I like to do is chuck it in an effects rack, just right click and group. So if you just go to that Infiltrator like that, click group, and it puts it in an effects rack, and then just bring the volume down a little bit. Also, it might be worthwhile locking the mix knob all the way to 100% so we don't get any dry coming through. And then what I also like to do is I like to just duplicate the track, and then I like to keep one of these vocal tracks. So let's just color it pink as well so we know which track is our dry track. And then it means that I can solo both of them and get a dry wet blend. So let's just go through some presets now. That's pretty cool, but let's keep going. Just turn it up a little bit. Sometimes it gets a bit nasty though. Right, so that one's cool. So then what I would do is I would then duplicate that second one, which is the one that we've just been flicking through the presets. So I'd do Command D on the Mac. I would duplicate it, turn off the mute, and then what I would do is I'd go back to the first track and I'd just open up the Infiltrator again, and I'd repeat the process. So I found this one. This one's pretty cool. So again, what we'll do, just duplicate, mute. Also remember, when you duplicate, the plugin opens up the, well, it duplicates, and then you will end up with a copy of the plugin on top. Now, what you want to try to avoid is hitting that random again, because that random's going to be on the track that you're trying to save, that which we're going to render out later. So just cross it off every time, and then you go back to the original preset. Sorry, plugin, not preset. So that's pretty cool. Again, let's just duplicate that one. Again, same process, mute, click it off. Let's just do a few more now. And you can always hit the undo button as well if you hear a preset and then you accidentally go to the next one. So that one was quite cool. Let's just duplicate that. Again, mute it. Let's just do a few more. That's cool. That's like, I would class that as like a layer that I would put over the vocal. So I'm just going to duplicate that one. That one's pretty interesting because we could use that for a breakdown. So again, duplicate that one. Click it off again. Let's keep going. This is a good one. There's loads of little fragments that we can like add to the arrangement. So as you're doing it, obviously you start to like kind of think about what you're going to do with these. And sometimes, I haven't done it this time, but sometimes I will label them as I go. So I'll just Command R and I would rename that one Glitch 1. And then if any other glitch ones come up, I'll rename it Glitch 2 and so on. If it's a reverb, I'll call it reverb. If it's a delay, I'll call it delay. If it's a distortion effect, I'll call it distortion. You get the idea, but you call them like 1, 2, 3. Or you can give it like a fancy name so you remember. And if it's something that I really like, I might colour it like yellow or red just to highlight it so I know that I really, really want to use that one. Let's keep going. So I've just made that mistake that I was telling you about. Let's just undo that one and click this top one off. That's good. That's a nice little effects layer. So duplicate that one. Again, you get into like a workflow of doing this, and it speeds up. Right, that's cool. Let's just do one more now for Devious Machines, and then we'll open up a different plugin. So let's just hit the random again. That's nice. I like that, yeah. So let's just duplicate that. And now what we're going to do is, actually we'll do the next stage, which is to freeze these before we move on, right? So it's also good as well to have maybe like 4, 5, 8 or whatever hits, because some of these presets, they change over time. So it's nice to get some variations on them as well. So the idea is that you've got to make sure all the plugins are on each channel. You highlight all of the, let's do the ones that I did earlier as well. So you highlight them all like this, you freeze, and then once that's frozen, what you need to do then is just flatten them. So let's go ahead and flatten the tracks. And now you can see if we open this up, we have a bunch of layers that we can use later on. So actually I'm going to color these all red, just to let me know that they were the infiltrator. And then let's go to Portal now and just take a listen to some of these that we've got available. So again, let's put it all the way to the right into wet, and then let's just go through some presets. So let's just go and start here and just go through like the recommended presets to start with. That's cool, straight away, sounds good. So again, duplicate, close the top one down again, go to the next one. It's all right. That's a good one. See, I think Portal's pretty good for vocals. I usually find that the Infiltrator, for me, usually works better on kind of like drums and bass and stuff like that, where you want to really smash it. But, oh, I like that. That's a keeper, yeah. Let's keep going. That's good for a breakdown, I think. I mean, they were pretty good, but I want to try and find something a bit more unique now. That one's good. Let's just duplicate that. Let's keep going. Let's keep that one. Let's just do one more after this, and then we'll move on to the delay plugin. It's alright. Let's see if we can find something that's really wild. So maybe in the sound design section. Let's go back to that memory extraction one. I like that, it's a bit weird. You've got to like kind of go for the weird ones as well. Sometimes they won't work, but we'll refine it later and choose whether we're going to use them or not. Let's colour these a different colour just so we know that they are the second plugin. And let's freeze again. That's now frozen. And then we're going to flatten the tracks. Also, make sure you mute all of those, because once we come out of solo, they're going to sound pretty loud. And then we're going to take a look at Valhalla delay. So let's go straight to Richard Devine, because we've got some like nice presets now. And the Simon Stockhausen ones are kind of similar to the ones that we've just done. They're a bit more easy on the ears and they're quite usable, whereas the Richard Devine ones are a bit mental. And I love that about them. Again, with Valhalla delay, just bring it up to 100% and click the mix label there. And what it'll do is it'll lock it for every preset. So these, that's cool. I like that. Right, let's duplicate that. Again, click it off. Go to the next preset. That's a keeper. Let's go for that. Actually, these have been pretty modest up to now. That's good for a breakdown. Yeah, that's great for a breakdown. Let's duplicate that one. Turn it off. Again, good for a breakdown. Duplicate. I like that. Yeah, let's take that one. Some of these are quite similar to each other. I like this one, so let's just stay with that now. I think we're done. I think we're pushing it. So the next stage is the not so fun stage, and that is categorizing and organizing the different layers that we've got. And as you can imagine, if you end up with like 50, 60 layers, then this is going to be a massive pain in the ass. But trust me, try to do this every single time. Don't just move on to the throwing it around the arrangement and getting creative. I know you want to do that. I feel like that sometimes as well. But do this next bit, then go and have a coffee or some food or a walk or whatever you need to do. Come back and then you can be creative once you've organized it. So you're setting yourself up for the next stage after this second one. Right, so let's look at the projects then. So what I'm going to do is just put on the drums and the bass and everything and the vocal. So that's the dry vocal. So we can just really listen to what we've got here. So this one, I'm just going to call this pitch 1. So this is any kind of vocal where it's been pitched. And let's listen to the next one. I'm actually going to call that one delay. Let's keep going. Again, we've got another pitch 1, so we call that pitch 2. This one, I'm going to call this FB for feedback, so we'll call that feedback 1. That can be used as a breakdown or a build-up. Call that feedback 2. I think all of these... Oh no, just them 3 are feedback, so B3. This one, I'm going to call that stereo actually, so that's like a stereo layer, so stereo 1. Let's just go back to the top and I'll show you the other things that we need to do as well. So the first one I'm going to show you is level matching all of these to the projects. So they're all going to be level with each other, but they're also going to be level to the projects as well. And the way that I do that is I go to a Pro Q. So you actually see I've got bass room and mix room on this project to sweeten the master, but I'll put Pro Q on there. And what I do, I've taught this quite a few times. You might have seen a video of me doing it before, and I swear by this. I do it all the time just to get a quick mix on the go. If you go into Pro Q and you have resolution at medium, speed at medium, and you also have the tilt, this is very important, on 4.5 dB. What it does is it puts everything even across this line. So it like puts the frequencies horizontal. Let me just put the hats in so you can see. See how the hats hit here? Also the kick's also hitting near the line as well. If I change the tilt to 0 dB, this is what all of us are used to when we use EQs. You all see an EQ readout that looks like that, right? So it slopes from left to right. It goes from up here to down there. What we're doing is we're basically just shifting that like that. And I find that extremely useful because I found that mixing to that line, now a lot of people are going to tell me off for this, like mix engineers if you're watching. I don't care. I've had tracks released on labels. I've got some big label releases upcoming. My master engineer recently told me that my mixes are very crisp and he would like to send clients my way. So I'm pretty confident at this point with my mixing skills. And some of it is down to this, and it's also down to using it plugins like bass room, mix room, tonal balance by iZotope. Also using my ears as well. As you can see, I've got treatment. I do use my ears, but this to me just speeds up the process really quickly. So yeah, what we do is we just mix everything visually to the line, and it really helps with mixing loads and loads of tracks like this, which would be very tedious to do with just your ears. So what I do is I just get everything like this. Watch, I just go, because they're effects as well, I want them a little bit quieter than the music. And the music, the way this was kind of done is that it was just a little bit over the line. So if I put everything kind of on the line, let's just go down. You can be really quick with this as well, because don't forget, in the later stages, you can always kind of adjust these by ear anyway, so it's fine. I've gotten a little bit ahead of myself though, because what we should have done first really is taken a look at the stereo width. Because if these are super wide sounds, they're going to be extremely loud, but then once we collapse them to mono, they're going to sound super, super quiet. So I'll show you an example of what I mean, right? So if we just bring in Ozone Imager, and you can see it's not too bad, but let's just go crazy with this, right? Let's make it super wide. You can hear it's got louder, right? And then if we put the utility straight after and collapse it to mono, listen to the difference in volume. So it's a lot quieter in mono. Also, that will usually reflect on Pro Q as well, which is why we should have really done this first. So that's stereo. You can see it's miles louder than it was. Mono, you can see it's much quieter. So we need to check the stereo width and get that to where we need it first. Then we can do the Pro Q thing. Right, so let's just go through each one. I'm only going to do like 4 or 5. So let's just bring the stereoize off. What we're looking at is the correlation meter. This is a free plugin, by the way, as well, so you can go and get this from iZotope. Correlation meter. For effects, I kind of have it around the midpoint to around here. So that's very, very wide. Don't want to go below 0 because then it'll be out of phase. This one could do with widening a little bit, so I could maybe just like bring that up, so it'll bring up the stereo width. And that's not using any special stereoize effects. But if I wanted to, I can make it super stereo, but I'm actually just going to keep it quite natural. I'm going to bring it up to 100%, and you can see we're almost at that middle line. Let's go to the delay now, and put on Ozone Imager again. See, that one's like super, super wide. So when we collapse to mono, that's going to be a lot quieter. So what I'm going to do is just bring it in a little bit like that. Let's just do 2 more. Again, let's make that a lot wider. This feedback one, let's just do this. I reckon we can add a bit more width to that. Yeah, let's go for that. And then while we're here as well, let's just do the EQing as well. Again, really easy EQ. What you can do is you just get rid of the sub frequencies, get rid of the top frequencies, maybe go to like 14K. And then I've just realized I'm on the wrong one there, so I wasn't really listening to it. But so let's just command copy that Pro Q, bang it onto the delay channel. The reason why I copy it as well is because most of them are going to be pretty similar. Let's just put one on here. The reason why I don't do it as a group as well is because sometimes things will be pitched down, and if you're working with drums or bass, you might end up with like a really cool bass tone that you want, and it's got sub in it, and you're like, oh, I might use that for a sub. So this is why I do it individually. It's a little bit more time consuming, but it means I can really work on each one. And if one of them does have some tonal discrepancy, like let's say if that bit there, let's say if it was ramped right up, then I would be able to kind of notch that bit down or add a bit of dynamic EQ. So when it does get to that point, it just kind of brings it down a little bit. So once we've done that, right, we can go back to the initial Pro Q on the master trick that I was showing you. And let's just check the ones we've done now, because I have sorted them out. So that one's a little bit too loud. Obviously use your ears as well. Like, that one really jumps out compared to these. Them two are about the same. That one, bring that up maybe a dB. Yeah, that's better. So use your ears as well, but use this just to get it in quickly. That one, just bring that down a little bit. And that's pretty much it. So that's my process. And obviously you've got colouring as well. So you can go further and obviously colour these, so let's just colour them quickly. So the boring stuff is done, and I did it behind the scenes, so you didn't have to suffer with me, but it took quite a while. It was very tedious. As you can see, I have labelled and coloured everything. The plugins are no longer existing anymore because I did actually freeze the tracks and flatten them, but I did all of the Pro Q and the tonal balance stuff, and also the stereo imaging. But yeah, I flattened them because my CPU is going crazy. So yeah, what I've done is I've organised them. I've also extended this loop section, so it is now double the length, and I've copied and pasted the hats and the vocal over. So we've got a longer section to work in. Because what we're going to do first is we're just going to make this section more interesting using some of the distortion, glitch, pitch elements and delay and reverb as well. So you can hear without any of that, it's pretty boring. So what I'm going to do is just start to audition some of these elements. I like that one. What I'm going to do actually is just listen to these again. Yeah, the volume's alright. That might need bringing down a little bit, that. So yeah, we'll go for that one first, and then what I'm going to do is just delete the other ones, or I can just press 0 to mute them. And let's just go to the next one now. I like that as well. Let's go for that. And then the next one, I might use something that's a bit different. I will just go for that. That's pretty interesting. Right, so let's just 0 them ones. And let's just zoom into that a little bit. So what I might want to do is get rid of that one, yeah. So just bring that over and then just add a little volume fade there. Or you could bring it over like that. Some of these might sound a bit different, so I don't want to delete them because we might want to open some of them up later on. Let's go to the fourth one. Let's maybe use the pitch one. Let's just go for that. So you can be quite quick with this. You don't have to spend a lot of time. It's just ear candy. A bit of randomness is not an issue. Just choose the ones you like and just pepper them about, and you can always like reorganize them later on. Let's duplicate the rest of this now. Actually, that's not. Yeah, let's just duplicate those ones and these ones because I want to leave the feedback ones where they are. This one as well. Let's go to this next section. Let's try that atmosphere. Yeah, I like that. Let's go for that one. So I'll just split that with Command D right there. Split it here. With this one, obviously, there is no... there's no more because obviously we didn't carry it over. But that's fine because I like the way that's landed. I'm just going to do that. That's nice. Have a little bit of tail there. And then let's try... We've already got some pitchy stuff going on. Let's try this one. I like that, yeah. Let's go for that one. So again, just mute these. Open it up so you can see where the waveform is. I like that. That's good. Also, what I would have done before is delete anything that I didn't like. I only deleted one track, actually. Because this is towards the end now, we need something a bit more effect-like, I think. So let's bring up the feedbackers, and also what's this one? Yeah, let's add that in, that's cool. So what I can also do as well is show you a trick how to enhance some of these later on. So let's go to the feedbackers and do what I said I wouldn't do, which is to drag them over. Try to listen to this last bit. That's cool. That's good. I like that. I might come back to that. That's also good. I like that as well. Let's go for this one. Because what I'm going to do there is just pull that kick away like this. Or I could put high pass in. Would it work if we used both of the ones that I liked together? A bit too much. Right, so let's have a listen to what we've just done there. Might turn that one up a little bit. Yeah, it works. One thing I will say though is obviously I put acid in way too much. If I was going to make this track into a proper track, what I would do actually is just kind of skip a few of them like this. So maybe I'd do it like less. But maybe we could do that with just an effect underneath. That's cool. Call and response. That don't really work. But yeah, it's a little bit too much. I'd obviously have to cut away some of the effects as well. So it happens less, but that's fine. Also, you could do some enhancements as well. So this is something else I was going to show you. As you can see on this return here, I've got a Valhalla vintage reverb. I don't know if I set this up already. Let me just check to see what this sounds like. But this could work. So let's go to maybe one of the pitchy ones. This one here. Yeah, that works. Let's just roll with that. Right, so I'd say with one of these, let me try and find out which one it was. Oh yes, so that sound, where is that sound? Let me have a look. Is it this one? No, this one. That one there, right, I thought that could have done with being a bit longer, so if we send that into the reverb, that sounds cool. Yeah, I like that. So yeah, you can also send these effects into other effects as well. That is another idea. The other idea that I've got as well is that you can sometimes reverse some of these. So maybe like this reverb here, can use that at the end of a phrase as a transitional effect like this. So do you hear the way it kind of like rose, but I'm going to turn it up a little bit more. That sounded quite cool. And obviously you can do that anywhere else on this arrangement as well. So you could go to any of the sounds. Let's go for one that I've already used, like this pitch. And let's just see what it sounds like if we put it like there but reversed it. So it went into the dry vocal. That sounded pretty cool. So yeah, you can do that as well. The other thing you could do obviously is quite basic editing stuff, like pitch it down or pitch it up. Maybe we'll go like +7. Or you could pitch it down 5. That sounds good as well. The other thing you could do is obviously pitch it down an octave and then mess around with the different algorithms. But I kind of liked it the way it was. So yeah, experiment with that. The other thing that I often do as well, which is quite basic but adds a lot to it, is to take something like maybe this one. Not that one. Let's see what else we've got. Let's just have a listen to this. Yeah, let's use this one. If I go into this now and just Command J that, delete that end section, and then just use the ×2 to extend it. And then we get all this really cool glitch stuff like that. Let's do another one because I really liked that. Let's go to delay 3 and have a listen to that one. Yeah, let's just Command J that. Go in ×2. So I like the second part of that, so you can just do that. But what I might do first is actually open it up, go like this, Command J. I'm not going to spend too much time doing this stuff because I'll save this for another video and we'll go really deep into editing tips and tricks that I do with audio. See, I liked that bit, so we can come back, do that. Maybe send that into a reverb. So just get rid of them ones. Let's have a listen to what we've just done there. What I might do is just do a little bit of a volume curve like that. It can sound quite trippy. Yeah, it's cool, man. I like that. Obviously, a bit more refining. Some of it sounds a little bit messy, got a bit clogged up around this area. But you just, once you've kind of mapped it out and you've got something going where you're like, that's really cool, you can then go in and start to tweak it a little bit more, like adding volume envelopes and just cut stuff back and forward and maybe like use something else in place of one of them because you liked it at first, but then you realise it didn't work later on. Just little things like that, just a little bit refining. Let's also look at maybe this breakdown section. What else have we got here? Mini build, breakdown. Yeah, let's go for this bit. So, let's take the kick out and let's take one of the feedbackers. So, let's see what I've got here. I had one that was like really, really long. You've got to extend them sometimes. Well, to see if they've got a tail on. That one there has got quite a tail. Yeah, we could use that one. Let's bring that in. That's cool. What else we've got? This one had quite a long tail as well, but we could use that the opposite way again, like this. And that could be a build-up. Let's bring a bit more in this time. Let's just bring that back. Try that. Send that into more reverb as well, like this. I think at the end, I'm going to try not to make this into an arrangement lesson because I'll get carried away, but we could do with like a little acid at the end before it drops like this. But cut back on this, obviously. So where the vocal starts, cut back there. I'll do some more videos on arrangement another time. I'll show you how to do all this kind of stuff in more detail. Let's have a listen to that. And also the vocal could do with like another distorted effect. So which one have we not used? Distortion free. So let's just bang that there, see what that sounds like. Maybe add 2 of them. Maybe 3. Nah. Let's turn that one off. Yeah, and it needs something else as well, like stereo effects. Where are them? Oh, we've not used that, and that's I think that's a good one. Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. And the glitch ones as well, like. Yeah, we didn't use this, right? So this was the original one that I really, really liked, that I made before I started filming, and we could put this over the break like this. Watch, just to use it up as well. And let's carry the vocals over. Again, try not to get carried away here. And let's send the vocal. Make the last one dry though. So yeah, as I said, this is a technique that I use on every single track that I put out. If you listen to my old James Orvis productions, they have a lot of this going on, loads of ear candy, especially a track called Acid. Not to be confused with the vocal in this one, because it is not actually the same acid sample. But yeah, in that one, I do a lot of trippy effects layers in that. I called it acid for that reason, because I wanted it to sound like you're on an acid trip. Really loved making that one. It did pretty well as well. So go and check that one on Spotify. All of the new stuff under drum, the electro stuff, features this kind of sound design as well. Previously, I was using output a lot more. I was also using things like trash as well to get like distorted layers. That's another tip. If you're interested in having any of the layers that we have made today and you don't want to go through the pain of doing everything that I've just done here, I am giving them away on my Patreon. If you subscribe to my Patreon, every week I'm going to do 1 or 2 videos, and I'm going to add free samples, loops, presets. I just did that previously for the Dreadbox Telepathy video that I did, and I just give away 77 loops that you can use in your own productions. Same thing with this. If you don't want to go through the pain of having to redo what I've just done there, and you really like that acid sample, feel free to use it in your own tracks. Absolutely cool. I'm going to export these out in a second and add them. The other thing I wanted to say as well is, if you are interested in joining any of my courses or upcoming courses, there is a sign up link below in the video description. So I have recently put out courses for the Hydrosynth, Syntact, the Dreadbox Typhon. I've also got presets and samples up on my website. And coming up soon, I'm going to be doing production courses. Similar to this, we're going to do sound design courses, arrangement courses. I'm going to run a flagship course under the Mix Hackers umbrella, which is why this channel is called James Orvis Mix Hackers. And the reason why I called it Mix Hackers is because we are going to hack the process of mixing down. Kind of going back to what I was doing earlier with Pro Q, I've got loads of cheats and hacks that have helped me create good enough mixes to put out there to get playlisted on Spotify, to get accepted by labels. Even years ago, when I didn't have any of this soundproofing, I was in very small rooms, I was using crappy monitors, and I still managed to get tracks across the line and playlisted and played out by DJs. And that is because I came up with ideas of using visual aids and also some analysis tools that enable me to mix on headphones or mix in a shitty room. And it also highlights any problematic things going on in a mix as well. I won't just be teaching how to do that though. I will be teaching how to mix with your ears. I'll be showing you how to do creative mixing techniques, get wider mixes, more dynamic punchy mixes, adding saturation, all of these kind of things I'm going to start teaching in upcoming courses. So if you're interested in any of that, please sign up below and you will get notified when new courses drop along with discounts. Also, drop me a comment below if you are already using this technique and you have a better way of doing it, or you have some VSTs that you want to share with myself and the rest of the community. Please let us know. We would all appreciate that massively. I'm always on the lookout for new plugins that do similar things but have a different character to them. And the other thing as well I wanted to say is, if you are interested in purchasing any of the plugins that I've used today, I am not sponsored by the plugin companies themselves, but I have signed up to an affiliate with pluginboutique.com, and if you buy plugins through them, I actually get a cut of the money. They are pretty much the cheapest on the market that I found, and you actually get virtual tokens, cashback that you can use on future purchases. I've been using them before I signed up as an affiliate for, I'd say, maybe 4 or 5 years, and what I've done is I've always bought through them because I get cash back. I get like £1, £2 here and there, and you can save up your virtual tokens and buy a plugin with them virtual tokens, or put it towards a plugin purchase. So it's been a really good way for me to save money, and if you use that affiliate link, then obviously I get more money invested into this channel, and I can buy more equipment to make these videos even better and deliver more content every week as well. So my name's James Orvis from Mix Hackers. Hope you've enjoyed this today, and I look forward to sharing some more content with you next week.